The group of protesters gathered outside the Atlantic investment offices were worried. It seemed as if Chase was somehow their only hope of getting back their swindled money. But how could that be? It was known throughout Lauderdale as a good-for-nothing. With the fate of their money in their hands, it was as good as lost. Chad was also frustrated. While he'd originally offered to help the group, he was growing increasingly concerned that it was a lost cause, and so capitulated to Chase's offer to help. The crowd gathered around Chad, eager to win back his support with flattery. Chase will never be able to think of a solution to our problem. Please, we'd really still like you to help. Patricia was not thrilled with the turn of events either. She marched right up to Chase and gave him a piece of her mind. Why can't you just keep your mouth shut? Chad already offered to help. We certainly don't need yours. After addressing Chase, she turned around and, in a softened tone, spoke directly to Chad. Chad, darling, please don't listen to him. We really need your help. Hearing so many people beg for help made Chad feel a little better. But there was still the problem about what to do about the missing money, and he wasn't sure he could actually help. A sly smile spread across his face. Rather than address the crowd, he turned to Chase slowly and deliberately and said, Chase, if you really do know someone who can help, why don't you work to get those people their money back today? Chase was concerned. He would never be able to help Patricia and get these protesters their money back without revealing who he was. And he couldn't risk it. Not yet. He quickly weighed in the pros and cons and decided to step back. It would also give everyone a chance to see how Chad was only full of hot air. He addressed the crowd. Unfortunately, my friend has other matters to attend to today, so he will not be able to help. The crowd groaned. Only Chad seemed to take pleasure in Chase's defeat. Of course, now the problem of the stolen money was left to Chad. Muttering to himself, he turned to walk towards the entrance of Atlantic Investment. He could feel the hopeful gaze of the group follow him as he walked that way. Chase didn't want to spend another moment watching Chad play the hero. So with a glance at Patricia, he turned around and walked off to find a quiet place to call Chuck. At this exact moment, in Chuck's office, a tall, thin man with small, bright eyes hidden behind glasses was babbling on. He opened his briefcase, took out a large envelope, and tossed it across the desk towards Chuck. Opening the envelope, Chuck found a large sum of cash. The thin man was none other than the CEO of Atlantic Investment, Jerry Evans. Jerry smiled coyly at Chuck and said, Mr. Stevens, I am forever indebted to you for what you've done to me. This small amount of money pales in comparison, but I hope you can accept it as a token of my appreciation. Chuck nodded his head and his assistant stepped over the desk and took away the envelope with the money. Look, Jerry, there's no need to thank me. But next time, don't come to me for help. I'm not in that business anymore. I won't come to you again, Mr. Stevens. It's just... Jerry paused before continuing. The risk is small and the payout is worth it. If you were to help just one last time... Jerry took a bill out of his front jacket pocket and slowly pushed it across the desk toward Chuck. One last time. This is it. After this, I leave town, and you will never hear from me again. Chuck fidgeted in his chair. Jerry was the old acquaintance from his earlier hustling days. Seeing him again made him uncomfortable. While the money was tempting, he was done taking risks. You said it was the last time, Chuck told Jerry. Jerry could sense that he had Chuck on the line. He took out another bill. This time's different, you'll see. Right at that moment, Chuck's phone rang. It was Chase. Chuck put his finger to his lips, signaling for Jerry to keep quiet, and answered the call. Mr. Rothman, what can I do for you today? Chase cut right to the point. Do you know the CEO of Atlantic Investment? Chuck glanced across the desk at Jerry. Why? He asked. Is there a problem? No problem, said Chase calmly. It's just that my mother-in-law was scammed for $500,000 by his company. I'd like it back. Hearing this, Chuck immediately got up from his office chair and said to Chase, Don't worry, I'll pass on your message right away. After saying his goodbyes, Chuck hung up the phone. His head was pounding. Jerry, he screamed as he kicked the chair out from under his old friend. Now on the floor, Jerry sat up stunned. What? What happened? Did you just steal a bunch of money from an old woman? Do you even know who you stole from? No, replied Jerry, looking genuinely confused. I have no idea what you're talking about. She isn't your average old woman, you idiot. She's Mr. Rothman's mother-in-law. Chuck pulled Jerry up to his feet, doing his best to shake some sense into him along the way. Upon hearing these words, Jerry's face fell. Rothman, as in Mr. Rothman's grandson? Was that him on the phone? Jerry's legs went soft as he collapsed onto the chair. He'd always heard Chuck complaining about how the Rothman family could destroy him with just one phone call. It couldn't be that now he was working with them. Chase hung up the phone, satisfied that Chuck would connect him with the CEO of Atlantic Investment in no time. The group of protesters continued to look at Chase as if he were something the cat just dragged in. I don't know why he's still here, they whispered. Doesn't he know that Chad is much more qualified to handle this? I know. With Chad's status and influence, he's sure to get our money back. As the group continued to whisper their insults, they backed further and further away from Chase as if this loserness was contagious. Meanwhile, Chad was still brooding over Chase, having tried to steal his limelight and play the hero. But watching the group turn against Chase was brightening his mood. With a smile on his face, he opened the door to the empty Atlantic Investment offices and walked over to one of the few employees left in the building. Can you explain to me what happened here? Where are the rest of Atlantic Investment's employees? These kind people here have been taken by your company for everything they have. I demand to speak to the CEO immediately. Sir, replied the employee, even if I wanted to, I cannot help you. A few days ago, the CEO shut down everything. He said that all business was temporarily delayed, and then yesterday the offices were cleared out. You asked for your money back, but I don't know what you're speaking about. Don't lie to me, barked Chad. I know how your company works. I also know your boss, and I demand that these people's lost investments are returned to them immediately. The group of seniors were in awe of Chad. Everything about him was majestic, from the way he spoke to the clothes he wore. He exuded wealth and confidence. Patricia was in high spirits. The praise for Chad reflected on her as well. After all, she had been the one to call him. Plus, Chad was so keen on her daughter. If she could only convince Celia to divorce Chase, her family's status was sure to rise. The Atlantic Investment employee turned to Chad and said with a grin, Sir, really, I have no way of helping you. But perhaps since you know the CEO, you could call him directly? In fact, when you speak with him, ask him about last month's salary that I've yet to receive. Truly, call him over. You'd actually be doing us all a favor. Chad narrowed his eyes, irritated with the employee's snarky attitude. Are you implying that I don't know your boss as I say I do? Are you calling me a liar? No, sir, replied the employee. I didn't say that at all. I just suggested a solution that might help everyone. Do you know my family? Chad uttered a little too loudly. My family owns shares in every company in this and every office building in the block. Just look around. That's how much power I have.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.